Hey guys, it's Cam here, and last week I originally started making a video about my dad and I. We took a trip to West Palm Beach. We flew Delta Airlines down there, and we were going to pick up a Bonanza and fly it home. But that deal kind of fell through, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I just kind of shifted this video to be about Delta's flight classes. I flew all of Delta's domestic flight classes: first class, comfort plus, and economy, and I want to kind of break those down, talk about them, talk about what they're like during COVID times, kind of my opinion on which one's worth it the most, and kind of let you guys decide for yourselves. So stick along and we'll talk about the flights. So my Friday started by waking up at 3 a.m., which normally would not fly for me. But since we were going on an airplane, I was pumped, I was up and going, making my coffee, getting ready to head to the airport. So our first leg of the flight was from Springfield to Atlanta. And so we woke up at 3 so we could leave the house by 4, get to the airport by 5, and then be on the plane for our 6 a.m. departure. And our timing was pretty good. So we got to Springfield at around 5 a.m. and used the Delta app to check in, which the Delta app is incredible. I booked our flights through it. I was able to check in through it. I was able to, fill in some information on our checked bag. I could check on flight status, everything like that. And I would have to say Delta has a top-notch app, and it definitely made my experience better all around. So security at Springfield was pretty minimal. It took about 10 minutes. Just ran our stuff through the little X-ray machine, stuck our arms up. They took an X-ray of our bodies, and we were through. No issues at all. Springfield's a small airport, so that was definitely appreciated. So our flight, we got to the gate, like 15 minutes before boarding, so it was perfect. We just kind of hung around. Now, granted, Springfield's under a masking ordinance. All the airlines are requiring it. I think every city we went to had a mask ordinance. So we wore a mask the entire time, which wasn't a huge issue. I'm used to it by now. I know some people get, they don't really care for them. And honestly, they're not my favorite, but, it is what it is in these changing times. So we got to board on our CRJ 900 from Springfield to Atlanta third. So we had people who needed more time boarding got to board very first, and then veterans got to board, and then first class could start boarding. And then they boarded from the back of the plane front to try to limit exposure to people, keep everybody away. So after boarding on the plane, we got a pre-departure bottle of water, which was, blew me away. That was our first class amenity for that flight. Besides the bigger seats, more legroom, getting to board early, that was about it. So we got our pre-departure bottle of water, and then we took off at night, got to watch the sunrise from the sky, which was pretty cool. It was a beautiful morning out of Springfield to Atlanta. And when we were in cruise, they handed out our snack bags. I'll go ahead and I kept one. I got 4 over the course of the weekend, so I kept one intact for the video. So it included a mini bottle of Dasani water, which is fine. I know one of my flights came with Niagara water. It's all water to me. It doesn't really matter. It came with just a little napkin. Some whole grain Cheez-Its. So they were not the most appetizing thing at 6 a.m., and some Biscoff. I am a sucker for Delta's Biscoff cookies in an airplane. Like, the biggest thing I look forward to is a cup of coffee and these Biscoff cookies in the air, and I was really disappointed when I found out they weren't giving coffee out, even in first class. So I enjoyed my Biscoff with my water, and I guess that had to do. They included this little piece of paper about how Delta is fighting COVID, so that was kind of cool, kind of reassuring. And then just a little hand sanitizer single for cleaning your hands. I will mention when we boarded, they gave everybody sanitizing wipes so they could wipe down, either their hands or their chair, stuff like that. So that was appreciated, knowing that Delta is, they are trying to keep us safe. First class seats were pretty nice. I'll tell you what, we were in the very front row, so we had tons of leg room, just had the wall in front of us. The only issue with being in the front row is that we didn't have underseat storage, so everything we brought had to be up top. So we took off in the dark, which was always fun. I tried taking videos of Springfield at night. I'll throw one in. It wasn't the best quality, but, it is what it is. And then, we took off, had a smooth flight. CRJs, I'd had I didn't really care for him before now. Just small, noisy, cramped, stuff like that. This one was really nice. And I don't know if being in the front of the plane changed that or not, but it was really nice. So we did our approach into Atlanta, and it was really cool. So Atlanta has all parallel runways. It's got 4 of them. And we were actually able to do a parallel approach with a Southwest 737. So that was really cool to watch them. They were a little behind us, and we kind of shuffled back and forth. But we got to watch, I was in one plane, got to watch the other one come in, drop his gear, come in and do landing. And it was really cool. I'd always seen videos of it, but I'd never seen it in person. So that was really sweet. I'll throw that video up somewhere. So we got to Atlanta, and it was super busy. I was kind of surprised, and I looked it up, and it was actually the most busiest day Atlanta has had since COVID started. So that was pretty wild. A lot of people traveling for Thanksgiving, I guess. But so we got to Atlanta, and we walked to our area. I don't know what they call those, like the terminal buildings, and we got some Wendy's. So we just ate really quick, and then we walked to our actual gate and got ready to board our 737, taking us from Atlanta to West Palm. So we got to board third again, and then boarding, we got on, and they actually had a pre-departure beverage. I only got a bottle of water, but my dad was able to get, they had a complimentary beer, so you could do they had 3 different beer options, and then a red and a white wine that you could choose from. So you got to have that and the same snack bag as before, and we were at the front of the plane again. We had a really comfortable flight from Atlanta to West Palm. We cruised to 32,000 feet at 473 knots. We had a little bit of a headwind, but nothing too crazy. And it was really nice. We landed in West Palm, had no issues, and yeah, that was about it. So we took a taxi after that flight and went to check out this airplane at this guy's house. Now, this Bonanza was not what we expected. The pictures were kind of deceiving. The interior was just dirty, aged. It was, 30-year-old interior. And so that all needed to be replaced. It needed a lot of panel work to it. It needed a new GPS, some G5s, new autopilot, stuff like that. It really needed new paint if we were getting picky. So my dad decided that he was not up for another airplane project. So we decided to get a hotel and catch the next flight out of West Palm. Now that night we did go to this restaurant downtown West Palm Beach called the Butcher Shop. I think it was Beer Gardens, something like that. But they're a barbecue place, but they're also butcher shops. You can buy some really nice cuts of steak there. And we just had an awesome meal. Service was super friendly, and I would highly recommend going there for anybody who is going to West Palm. It was in an old, seaplane hangar where they used to pull seaplanes up on the beach, pull them into the hangar. We were really close to the beach, and then they'd work on them. It was a really cool place. Staff was super friendly, and we had tons of fun. So Dad and I got a hotel in West Palm, really close to the airport, so that way we could catch our 8 a.m. departure flight the next morning. Now, granted, we booked these flights less than 24 hours in advance, so we didn't really get a choice on our seats. So the only seats from West Palm to Atlanta were economy, and then, or I guess our main cabin is what they call it. And then from Atlanta to Springfield, we were able to pick up Comfort Plus. So we kind of did the same thing we did in Springfield at West Palm, checked in a lot using the app. We didn't check a bag this time because they weren't free like first class was. And then, we just got to our gate, boarded on our 737 in economy. So we still got to board pretty early. We were in the back of the plane. And it was honestly really comfortable. So Delta's doing a thing right now where the 737s are set up in a 3-3 configuration. So 3 seats on one side, 3 seats on the other. And they won't set strangers right next to each other. So it's just my dad and I, and they left one seat open. So that way it was limiting exposure. So our plane was really only 60% full. So that was really cool. And so we were able to have a whole row to ourselves in economy. So even though the seats were economy, they were smaller, didn't get as great service, it was still really nice not being so cramped in the back of a plane. It was a super smooth flight. So from West Palm to Atlanta, we cruised at 37,000 feet, had quite the headwind, I only had 446 knots on the flight, but it's still super comfortable. We had the screen on the 7.3, so we could watch movies or whatever we wanted to. I just watched The Office on my phone, had my AirPods, my phone, and yeah, that worked out really well. And I would highly recommend the AirPod Pros in an airplane. The noise canceling is awesome for drowning out like just that air sound. And, you know, if you have loud kids or something, they're incredible. Worth every penny on an airplane for sure. So we landed in Atlanta. It was pretty busy again, but we only had a 40-minute layover in between our flights. We got off of the flight. Since we were in the back, we didn't get off till later. And then we just kind of had to hustle to our other gate. So we took the plane train to our concourse, and yeah, was able to just, as soon as they started boarding, we were there. We got to get on the plane like 5 minutes after getting to the gate, and we were on our way. So that was super painless. I wish, you know, I would totally do short layovers all the time if I knew that the planes were going to be on time all the time. That was a lot of times. But, so I like to plan at least an hour in between flights to have a little bit of a cushion if we're running late, but 40 minutes worked really well in our case this time. So after we boarded on our CRJ in Comfort Plus out of Atlanta, we got our snack bags before we took off, which I thought was pretty interesting, but that's fine. And yeah, it was a really nice flight. About an hour and a half, cruised at 32,000 feet at about 400 knots. We had quite a large headwind coming back, but overall it's super comfortable flight. That CRJ was incredible. Super smooth, quiet. Comfort Plus was great. Flight attendants were great. Yeah, just super enjoyable. That's why I love Delta. I'm super loyal to Delta. After, you know, all my times flying, and I just love the service. I love how they've adapted to, you know, dealing with COVID in these times, and I love them. They're great. And after flying all three of these classes, I'd say I'd have to recommend Comfort Plus, at least right now. It's about, I don't know, $60 to $100 more per seat, per leg. So, I mean, it could get more pricey if you're doing a lot of different legs or doing round trip tickets. I think it's worth it. You have more room. You get, I mean, in normal times, you would get better snacks and stuff. And yeah, it's just, Comfort Plus is where it's at. I have a really hard time justifying over double the ticket price for first class, especially right now, because you're only paying for, well, the one free beer and a bigger seat, if you look at it that way. So I'd be more willing to try first class, you know, when this whole COVID thing's over with, and kind of see if it's worth it then. As of right now, I just wouldn't be able to justify first class, but I can definitely justify Comfort Plus. And Comfort Plus is one of those things where you can use your miles, your Sky Miles, to pay for the upgrade. So you're, you know, really paying for an economy seat, but using your miles for the upgrade. So that's for people, you know, who are loyal to Delta. And I definitely am after this experience. I will continue to fly with them as long as they're around, as long as I'm around. I'll use the app, and yeah, I'll fly Comfort Plus. So that's kind of my opinion on this. I'll let you guys kind of choose what you want. I'll let you guys kind of choose for yourselves on what you think is the best, but that's just kind of my experience during COVID. And, you know, I think it was a really neat experience. A lot of people, you know, are they don't really know what's happening with the airlines right now. And I think, now granted, I haven't flown United or American or Southwest or anything recently, but Delta's killing it. They're great, so I would have to highly recommend them. So, until next time, guys, I appreciate you watching this video.